it was so interesting to me to go back to Oakville and find quite a bit of Black history, not just the history of the stories, but also the buildings that we actually existed there. And it kind of baffles my mind that I had gone past these buildings so many times as a kid with zero recognition. So this is fantastic, and I'm so grateful to share with you that between 1850 and 1860, approximately 400 Black people settled in Oakville, representing 20% of the town's population of 2,000 people. And that's according to the city's archives. The town of Oakville was the gateway to Canada for many African Americans as early as the 1830s. Many slaves were assisted by ship captains to stow away in grain vessels. If you can imagine that. Stories are told of a tunnel which ran from the 16-mile creek to the Herb Mary House on Trafalgar Road. And I know some of these places from hanging out as a kid, so to go back there and think of, my people so long ago here is fantastic and so wonderful. There's also some evidence to suggest that there may have been a tunnel leading under Navy Street from near the Custom House. So lots going on there. There was one of the most famous, freedom fighters was James Wellesley Hill, who made several trips to Maryland. Some say he crossed the border in a packing crate. It just kind of baffles my mind to think of what it would be like to have to stay in such a small space in the dark and the quiet, being so silent and having no idea if you will make it to the other side and even what that other side means. Hill's reputation as a conductor led to a price being put on his head, and in the United States he was wanted dead or alive. So that's a guy who was also known to have built a strawberry farm in Oakville that put it on the map as the strawberry capital of Canada. So, this is the guy with the wanted dead or alive. And this is where the women come in. He had married Adeline Shipley in Maryland in 1859. That's the extent of her input into the story. Sometimes they'll say they had the children and then the girls will be named. But really, unless they became a teacher or a preacher, very little recognition, if any. I spoke to a Toronto genealogist who traced her family back to Owen Sound, and she said that she found the same, that there was very little information about women. So I had a really hard time on this trip actually finding the stories of women from that early stage in the early 1800s. So after this long trip, it seems like I may have to write those stories myself. So maybe that's to come. Sankofa!